Hey, beautiful friends. This is Sarah Blumenfeld with Networking Done Different and outreach of an invitation to more.com. Today, I'm joined by Jay Coppock, who is the Chief Operations Officer of Associated Federal Credit Union. And more importantly, for our conversation today, the founder and executive director of the nonprofit Serve. Jay's going to tell us all about that, how it can help you, and how you can get involved. Hey, Jay.
Good morning. How are you doing, Sarah?
Awesome. Thank you for joining me today.
You're more than welcome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about Serve and how it got started.
All right. Hope you have a few minutes because it's a good story. But SERVE is an acronym for Southeast Resource Veterans Effort. Mouthful, but we had to get the word serve in there, and you know how acronyms go. Sometimes got to make
You
things
get to that
flow.
last word, you're like, what can we use for E?
Does it really go with that? But you know what? We don't really use the Southeast Resource Veterans Effort. We just say serve, and most people know that. So that's pretty nice. But
Yeah.
it's a networking done different, which is what we're talking about today, and that's basically what this is. And so back 10 years ago or so, my wife had actually gone to BNI, the Business Networking International. And the concept of having one specific person per industry in a room and talking about referrals and really having the ability to use other people to the betterment of your organization really caught my eye.
Yeah.
And in 2014, the credit union decided to get into the mortgage business a little bit heavier than we were. And so we went out and sought a program through a community development corporation. And so at that time, the credit union actually formed Keystone CDC, hired a director. And the whole point was to do home buyer education and make sure that we could take care of folks that needed to get mortgages, including veterans. And in that process, we contracted with the state of Texas on a program called the Haven Grant. And the Haven Grant is to allow the veteran to apply and then have subsequent changes done to their house that would help them be more comfortable with maybe their disability or something that they suffered through combat or through their time in the service. So the Haven Grant was designed to help make life better. And combining that conversation and then the one with BNI, I met a young lady who had been a grant writer for San Jacinto College, and she and I got to talking. And her husband is a Marine, and she said, talking, just throwing out numbers about this side of town in Galveston County and Southern Harris County, there weren't services for veterans. There was nothing down here for people to glom onto. Yes, we have the Texas City VA, and they do a great job. But they're specific to what the VA does. And after I talked to her, I kind of got with my leadership team at the credit union and said, hey, I want to take the CDC and maybe expand it a little bit and get into veteran services. And kind of told them my model, and they loved it. And so in August of 2015, we formed Serve, had our first meeting, and we had 6 people, 6 different organizations of folks. And how that actually happened and where the ultimate brainchild came from is that we did a Haven Grant for a fellow in League City, right behind my office. And when the neighborhood found out about it, our $7,500 plus whatever the organization or the neighborhood wanted to put together, we ended up doing something really cool for this veteran and making life a lot better for him. And in that, I met a guy named Donnie Doffenbaugh, who is a VP with the program called the Coalition to Salute America's Heroes. And what they do is they do emergency financing for veterans, trying to make sure that their electricity, their utilities, their rent, all that stuff is paid, and kind of a thank you back to them. And on our CDC, not on our CDC board, but another board within a credit union, a gentleman that I knew ran a group called CHAMP. His name is Sam Alex. When I said, hey, Sam, do you know Donnie? Donnie, do you know Sam? And they're like, nah, never heard of him. And I go, wait a minute. You guys got 2 nonprofits. You're 8 minutes apart from each other. You never heard of each other. What are you doing? And I said, look, I'd like to get you guys to meet each other, and let's see what happens. And so when they did, it was very surreal. They started talking to each other in a language that us non-veterans, which is what I am, I don't understand. And it was
Mhm.
really cool to watch. And so as they did that, I said, you know what, let's do this. And they listened and they went out and found me 3 other nonprofits that specialized in veterans, and we started Serve. And the whole concept is we meet once a month and have for over 8.5 years. And the purpose is to network. It's just exactly what we're talking about here. And that is the best way to make a veteran feel comfortable is to make sure that you're referring them to somebody that you know and trust.
Mm.
And as we started with the 6 organizations in 2015, I'm now up around 70.
Oh
And
my goodness.
what that does,
Wow.
and what that does is that allows me that if, Sarah has a specific request, I don't have to solve it. I've got
Yeah.
69 other people or 70 other people that I can go, hey, can you help me with Sarah's issue? And that's how it works. And so we've taken the concept of each individual nonprofit and saying, okay, tell me what you do. And that's what we do every month. Tell me who you are, what you do, how you help veterans.
Mhm.
Did you serve yourself? And then get to know everybody else in the room or, online, so that when you have a problem, you go directly to that person. You start creating these relationships in this network of people that can solve individual problems. And so it's amazing that, everybody thinks when they run their own business, they have to solve all the problems. And
Yes.
I found a way to solve the problem by expanding, that network to a lot of people that, quite frankly, are a lot smarter than me when it comes to what veterans need and what they can do. And my team is amazing. I have 6 individuals on there, one from the Vietnam era. I have 2 Purple Heart recipients, 2 ladies on there, one from the Coast Guard, one from the Marine Corps, and then I have a retired lieutenant colonel on on my team. And so between these 6 folks, they teach me the world of the veteran
Mm.
nonprofit. They teach me how to talk to people. They teach me, all kinds of cool stuff that I can, really make an impact on lives and the veterans in our community. So
Wow. That's amazing. I love the model. You took the general like networking model where we get to know, like, and trust each other and refer each other business, and instead made the whole model about serving veterans.
right,
And then it's the know, like, and trust on top of that. I love that.
right. And what's cool about that is that while you're right, it's all about that individual person that comes to the table, but it also is about that network. I mean, that organization.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
in the nonprofit world, every organization gets funding from somewhere. And if you
Yeah.
don't maintain that level of activity or the number of referrals or the number of people served, the grant offerer says, yeah, let's make this go away. And so
Um,
if we have any input into, the longevity of other organization, this kind of helps out because we refer, if they can help out, it goes on their books, as a case that they solved. And,
right.
that's all I care about.
Right. Wow. That's amazing, Jay. I love that. Good for you.
Thank you.
And good for all the people on your team. That's just, I love that so much.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, let's see. So many questions. How do people who are part of nonprofit organizations that are not already represented among your group join the group or be considered for it? I don't know if you have some sort of criteria that has to be met.
Well, before we got started, we were talking about the website, and on the website there are a list of organizations. And so
Mhm.
what happens there is that trying to keep that up to date, where anybody that's looking for assistance from the network can go out to the website and see, the 40 or 50 that actually allow me to put themselves out on the website. And so the person can contact them directly. They don't have to go through me.
Right.
So we try to do a pretty good job of showcasing who that organization is with, contact information and who the necessary people are. If for some reason they don't want to do that and they have no idea, they just ask, hey, I've
Mm.
got, my name is so-and-so, we have a very specific contact form out on the website, and people just call in and say, hey, I've got this. Can you help me? And so from that, I look at it, I get with my team and go, is this something in your bailiwick, so to speak? And if not,
Mhm.
69 other people or 70 other people out there are just waiting to, to help out. And while we're on the south side, we formed a lot of really, really strong, cool partnerships with folks in Harris County, in Houston, downtown, where, a lot of these organizations kind of sit. And
Mhm.
we have access to them through our networking and through our ability to, kind of do what we say we're going to do, and vice versa. So it makes it really easy for us to collaborate and make sure that, for veterans, only needs to go to one place. And
Yeah.
that's, and that kind of solves it. And so I think what frustrates veterans more than anything else is being told no. And
Mm.
when they're told no, it's not because the organization doesn't want to help. It's because the organization can't help, because what the veteran is or what he or she is looking for does not fit, the
Right, their
everyday
model, yeah.
needs of that particular organization. So
Mhm. Mhm.
I was stunned when I first started doing this. It'll be 9 years in August. It's crazy. We've got 45,000 plus organizations that are registered with the IRS, and it's probably a little bit more than that today. All they do is focus on veterans. When
Oh,
you get to
wow.
Texas, it's a little bit less than 2,000, and a good portion of those are VFWs and American Legions, which are phenomenal for what they do.
Mhm.
However, when a veteran has a problem, where do they go? And if
Yeah,
you've got, 1,800 organizations, do you call 1,800 and
right.
go, "What's the problem?" So they get
No,
frustrated and they just give up, and they just say,
sure.
"You know what, this is not worth my time or effort." So we try to take a little bit out of that. I'm not saying that when somebody goes to take an organization that they don't have to fill out a form or provide documentation or things of that nature. But instead of
Mhm.
doing that with 25 places, we try to narrow it down to the ones that we think will help them.
Yeah, yeah. What is your website? You've mentioned that a couple times. Let's make sure and get that in here.
So it's www.se for Southeast, the initials for Southeast. So www.setexasheroes.com.
Okay.
And then, the front page kind of tells you who we are and what we do. And then if you scroll to the bottom, there is a contact us form. We need that. And rule number one in the veteran community, you cannot advocate on behalf of a veteran. The veteran has to advocate on behalf of his or herself.
Mm.
You can't call me up and say, "Can you call my uncle?" And, he's having this problem. Your uncle's got to reach out and say, "Look, I need your help."
Right.
Because the most prideful set of individuals in the United States are veterans. And sometimes they don't feel that they need the help, or somebody else needs it more. So when they
Mhm.
don't ask and we call them, they kind of get offended.
Yeah.
So we kind of hold on fast to that, is that, even if you call me and say, "I need some help," what we want is we want to get a copy of, the DD 214 or some type of service record
Mhm.
information that we can kind of pass on to the next organization to kind of help them solve that problem. The more we know, the quicker and the easier it is to solve a problem.
Yeah. Well, and to your point, the veteran has to want assistance, right? You can't force anybody to do something that they don't want to do, or receive something they're unwilling to receive.
Yeah.
I know
And
that as
that's
a coach. You can't coach somebody who doesn't want to be coached.
correct. There's a lot. When we reach out, they go, "No, I'm okay, thanks."
Yeah, yeah. And then they call their friend and like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah. What did you put me in that weird position for? 'Cause, I mean,
Yeah,
there's a ton of pride involved in
sure, sure.
asking for that help. And,
Yeah.
it's kind of one of those odd things that, we talk about, in our grand scheme of things in the United States, that, we don't have, socialized medicine. That's what the VA is. I mean, it's
Mm,
the only form of socialized medicine that we have. And, it's
yeah.
one of those things that you got to go through specific processes, to get help. And that's okay, because there's a lot of people, 20 million plus, that are trying to get that help, and you got to prioritize, and you got to have, some type of system in place to be able to do that. And, with that, it gets kind of frustrating. And so that's where a lot of these organizations on the outside kind of help solve that problem for that veteran. So sorry, there's a plane flying over here. I don't know if you hear it. So
No, I don't.
I do. Yeah.
I noticed on your website you have 4 categories: general help, mental health, financial counseling, and home ownership. Do you want to touch on those a little bit?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to categorize everything that we do, but just to kind of give somebody an idea when they come out to the website, the type of things that we do. You could
Mhm.
probably add a 5th category in there now, which is women veteran services. There are currently quite a few that are coming, that have been around for a little bit and that are coming up, that serve just women veterans. And so sometimes, they kind of fall into that general or the mental health or, any of those four categories. But,
Right.
the reason why we break it down is so that people kind of get an idea, everything that we do in the general category kind of bleeds into mental health. It kind of bleeds into financial counseling in certain circumstances. It definitely bleeds into, all of the things that, the veteran may not think of. And I have, it's an incredible process. And one of the best, there's a couple good examples of how the network or how the program works. And one of them is, I had a young lady call me, electric bill was $800 a month in Texas. The same reaction I had. And it's, you look at that and we're all from here. So we know, in the worst time. And again, if you had a 10,000 square foot, 4-story home, maybe. So I said, tell me about your house. And she did. And I go, okay, something's wrong. Do you own it or rent it? She said, I own it. And I go, okay, did you have an inspection? Yeah. Well, when it came down to it, believe it or not, one of the folks in my group is an air conditioning company. And so I reached out to the air conditioning company. I said, would you go out, look at this house, make sure something ain't right? And they did for no cost to me or to the veteran. And they went out and they said, yeah, this thing is 25 years old. Or 15 years old, whatever. It doesn't work. It's pushing out air, kind of like out of a straw. And so I said, okay, can you send me an invoice or, some type of statement that shows what the level of work would be? And I got with the homeowner. We went through the Haven grant. And through the Haven grant, we were able to replace the entire air conditioner, all of the ducts and everything. She didn't pay a dime. Let me back up. She paid $240 for an inspection fee. The rest of it, the Haven grant that I talked about earlier took care of it. The air conditioning company went out and replaced it, and it solved the problem. But had I just paid the electric bill and never asked the next series of questions, guess what her bill would still be today?
Right.
So having the conversations, and the reason why I bring that up is that all of those four things are connected. Somebody may call us for financial help, but they may be on a suicide watch, because if their finances are that bad, the mental health aspect of it. And if all you do is focus on, let's pay the bill, but you don't ask a series of questions about, okay, who are you talking to? What's going on? What does your network look like? And I think that is the bigger problem. And, and that's what all of us try to do with our organizations. And that is, don't just solve the initial problem, but find out, does it just kick the can down the road? Does it fix where else? So those four categories are really designed to let the veteran know, hey, we do a lot of stuff. Don't get hung up on one thing. And, you may call in and say, I got to do X, Y, or Z, but I see over here that this organization, can I talk to them? And I think that really makes a huge difference.
Yeah, because as you said, the two veterans organizations that you originally talked to didn't know about each other. Imagine the veterans out there, they have no idea what's available. And so by seeing that on your website, they can be like, oh, wow, I can get help with that.
What's even more amazing is we in the veteran nonprofit circle have no idea what's out there. I get connected with new organizations all of the time. And that's how you go from 6 to 60. It's not your typical folks that are running around out there. I've got a partnership with the city of Houston, the Veteran Affairs office down there. The lady that is part of that group is a Marine herself, and she's just phenomenal. And so, when I run into issues within the city of Houston, outside of my area, I pick up the phone and say, hey, where? And so she knows more people than I ever will. And it's an incredible resource to be able to help me solve those problems. But the flip side is she also comes from the fourth largest city's mayor office, the mayor's office, and it's like she carries a little bit more weight than a little guy down in Friendswood. It's not bad to have a little swag in your back pocket, so to speak.
Exactly. I know people.
And that's how you solve it. I've been doing banking for 35 years, and there is no way that I'm the smartest guy in the room, and I don't have to be, because I know who is the smartest guy in the room. And that's what networking is all about. It's not you having to do everything yourself, but being smart enough to go, Sarah, let's you and I partner, because I like what you do. And if I have a problem, can I refer somebody that you'll help solve that problem? And very few people will tell you no when it happens to be, in a spectrum or a circle that they really like.
Right. Well, and in the military, aren't they taught to like look out for each other, watch each other's back all the time? And so to have an organization that's providing that for them is just awesome.
And it makes it fun. I mean, and it's a lot of work, but you know, it is very
Mhm.
gratifying when you're able to help. And you know, like I said, we've done this for a few years now, and you know, in the beginning, everybody, you know, we had to help everybody, and now we fully understand that they got to help themselves. And
Mhm.
our
Mhm.
job is to provide access, ability, all that stuff, and our expertise with the folks that we have to kind of help move down the road. And I can't tell you how many times we've led a horse to water, you know, a veteran to, you know, right on the edge of getting things fixed for them, and they don't want the help. And, you know, that's
Yeah.
their choice, and that's
Yeah.
okay. I mean, you know, we still love them, and we still, you know, appreciate all of the time and effort that they put into service, you know, into our country, and sacrificing that, you know, if they need it, they know where to find us. And that's the big piece.
Mhm.
It's, you know,
Mhm.
it's never been, you know, and this is what's odd about my organization and my team. It's never about who we've helped. It's about the next one. And
Mhm.
we're always looking, you know, it's not about how many, it's about the one. And if there's somebody out there today that needs help, let's help them. You know, the
Yeah.
guys, you know, yesterday, 5 years from now, they're helped, you know, and hopefully they're thriving and doing the right things. If not, they're reaching back out. So.
Yeah. Yeah. If there's an organization that is interested in getting on the website, becoming involved, how does that happen?
You know, it's exactly the same thing. You know, it's sctexasheroes.com. You know, that contact form is used for folks to be able to reach out. And the easiest way is just if you just add the word info at the beginning of that, it turns it into our email address.
Mhm.
So info@sctexasheroes.com. If
Mhm.
somebody emails me and says, "Hey, you know, I saw you on Sarah's, you know, program, and I'd love to be able to get involved. How do I go about doing that?" And so we'll send out the information to them and see how we can get them partnered. You know, and the big thing is that, you know, I introduced BNI earlier on. We don't sell anything. In organizations that want to sell, need not apply, because that's not
Yeah.
what we do. We're not selling real estate services. We're not selling widgets or coffee or, you know, let me back up. The coffee organizations, they're wonderful, and they do more for veterans than sell coffee. So I apologize if that gets out, because I know you said we can't edit this stuff out, but it's not a sales deal. And, you know, and there are organizations that in the past 8 years that have come in and say, you know, hey, I want to be this, and that. And it's like, this is not about you, it's about them. And
Mhm.
so, you know, if you're in the business of helping veterans and you've got an organization that may not have, you know, the recognition or, you know, the presence that you would like, let us know, because, you know, we'll connect you with, you know, a bunch of other folks that, you know, that can
Mhm.
possibly help you. Yeah.
Yeah.
My goal, and I know this sounds really weird, is to be obsolete. You know, the whole point of this was to connect all of these veteran service organizations. And
Mhm.
you know, when they meet each other, there's no rule that says they have to go through my website or anything else. If two
Right.
organizations get together and want to solve the problem without me, that's why I started this, was to collaborate, not, you
Right.
know, have everything run through one place. And as soon as they don't need me as that focal point, I'll shut it down.
Mm.
And that's the whole cool, you know, that to me, that's that's the end game, is that create a network of people that transcend or, you know, go beyond, you know, the little group that we've set up, and then go from
Mhm.
there.
Mhm. And yet, what an amazing starting place.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah, exactly. So it's a pretty good, it actually is a pretty cool starting place.
Yeah, yeah. What else do you want our friends to know?
You know, I think the biggest thing is that don't hesitate. You know, if you're
Mm.
not sure, just ask. And if we don't know, we'll pass on. I mean, you know, I've had requests from, you know, 85-year-old Vietnam veterans that are losing their driver's license because they're 85 years old, but that's all they've ever known. You know, and the folks that we have in our area happen to work for, you know, the local congressmen or, you know, senators within the state of Texas that actually have purview over the DMV. So you reach out. I mean, I've had a guy I met a young lady down in Jones Creek, down in South Brazoria County. You know, she is one of the deputy chiefs down there, and she had a 85-year-old Korean War veteran that died in her county and was at the morgue, and nobody would claim the body.
Mm.
And she just thought that was odd. And so they found the family. Family said, not interested, do whatever you want with them. And so she had learned about me through a class that she was teaching in Galveston, which, from Jones Creek to Galveston is not next door.
Right.
And, and the one of the classmates in there, or one of the students said, "Hey, you need to contact Jay." So she does. Not knowing what to do, I reached out to my network, and next thing we know, we had a full honors burial at the National Cemetery in
Oh.
Houston for this guy that nobody wanted. And we had strangers show up, and the lady that, ultimately did reached out was the person that sat in the front row as the family member and received the flag on his behalf. But he got a full burial because
Wow.
somebody cared enough to ask a simple question, that is, this is not going to happen in my city,
Yeah.
state, county. How do
Not
I make
on my watch, right?
not on my, and you know what? And God bless her, because you know what?
Yeah. Yeah.
He should not. I don't know the circumstances behind his family or what
Right.
happened and all the other stuff, but he served our country, and
Yeah.
he deserved to have, a burial fit for the king. And if you're in the veteran circles, Valhalla is a very, very important place for them. And, they all want to have an honorable, whether it's an honorable death or an honorable recognition of the service that they did, and what we did. And it was just, like I said, I would have never known that we had that ability until we tried.
Yeah.
So something like that is extreme, but it lets you know that the power of the network exists. And,
Yeah.
that's the big part of what networking is all about. It's not what you know, it's who you know. And that's
Yeah.
why Serve is, in my opinion, very successful.
Yeah, it's not linear necessarily. I mean, there are linear connections, but it's this web of,
Yep.
it's a network. That's why it's called that.
Exactly. Yeah. And you don't, it's not a personal gain kind of deal. It's, it's an everybody gain sort of thing. And,
Mhm.
and not to give credit to BNI, but, they have a great concept of bringing people together to, to share resources. And we just took it a step further. And instead of made it about the individual company, we made it about the individual veteran.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the power of that is just unbelievable.
If there are people listening who aren't part of an organization, however, they would still like to contribute in some way through donating or volunteering, is there a way for that to occur?
And again, I try to make it as simple as possible. info@sctexasheroes.com. Tell us what you're thinking. We'd love
Okay.
to be able to add you to that. And again, it's not, I would say 20 to 25% of the organizations are not veteran owned. They're, individuals and patriots like myself that want to help. So you don't have to be a veteran to get involved.
Okay.
Believe it or not, through the course of this, I've actually helped start. I was kind of the ninth person part of it, but anyway, we started a Veterans Rotary in
Oh, wow.
this area, and we meet at Bighorn Barbecue in Pearland the second and fourth Tuesdays of every month. And again, it's the same thought process: veterans and patriots coming together to solve veteran problems. Through Rotary and the service above self concept. But that was all. If you look in that room, a lot of the folks that are there are also part of Serve. And vice versa. And so now, a lot of what we do, we have the strength of a Rotary program behind us. So, they may not necessarily want to get involved or do things here, but the Rotary's out there for them to get involved. The third Wednesday of every month, which 2 days from now, in front of the Texas City VA, this month in February will be our second annual program of handing out food in a mobile pantry to veterans. It's the only veteran-only program in Galveston County, and we service anywhere from 175 to 225 cars the third Wednesday. It's absolutely a sight to see, and I'm always looking for volunteers to come out and put the food together and put it in the cars, and thank these men and women for their service to our country by just giving them a little bit of love and hopefully some food that will keep them nourished for the next couple of weeks.
So that's every third
Third
Wednesday?
Wednesday every month.
Okay.
So, like I said, this will be our 24th one that we've held in the
Wow.
last, actually 25th technically, because we started in February. But yeah, this will be our second anniversary of setting this up. And my partners in crime with that are a group called Combined Arms, which is kind of similar to what Serve does, but they're a lot more technological than I'll ever be. But they do a phenomenal job. And then the Galveston County Food Bank is absolutely incredible. And then Pastor Tim Franklin and his wife, Margie, who own the Connections coffee shop and church down right next door to the VA. So we set up camp in front of their coffee shop, and they
Oh,
take
wow.
such great care of us. But it's really cool to see. And if you're bored, come out about 12:30 because you'll start seeing cars line up. I don't know why we don't start until 3:30, but
Oh, wow. Oh, my goodness.
it's amazing. So they battle to get in line first to see what we're going to offer, and it's very humbling to see that those people are out there, and we're able to do what we can for them. So info@sctexasheroes.com. If you're not sure how to get involved, if you have suggestions on things that you can do or to help or whatever, let us know. But there are we get programs that we kind of do throughout the year with the Rotary Club, which I'm actually an executive officer on that as well. And so we do multiple campaigns or programs each year with them to help veterans, and then what we do through Serve.
Fantastic. Wow, Jay, thank you so much for this information and for all you're doing for our veterans. It's just so heartwarming.
Very well. Well, they do a lot for us. So you and I
Yeah,
get the
absolutely.
opportunity to sit here on Zoom and have this conversation, wherever we're at. And that's what freedom's all about. And without these
Yeah.
men and women, I don't know if, we would ever be able to sit and do this. So
Yeah.
it's our way of saying thank you to them. And
For sure.
as long as we are able to do that, we're going to be okay.
Yeah. All right. Awesome. Well, friends, I hope you learned something valuable today, and I always thank you for taking the time to listen. If you would like to be interviewed, please email me at networkingdonedifferent@gmail.com. Have a beautiful day. See you next time. Bye.
Thank you.